and welcome to How to Succeed in Your Next Job Interview. I'm Patrick Munoz.
And I'm Chris Schulte.
Today's video is avoiding common mistakes. We're going to model the common mistakes for you so you can see what not to do. We'll actually just start the interview and you'll get to guess, that's the game here, guess what is it that the interviewee, will rotate positions, is not doing well, or in fact is doing poorly, and how could they get better? First question, I'll ask Chris, try to guess what is happening with him that is just not helping the interview. Let's start. Chris, it's good to have you here. How was the drive here today?
Oh, it was really good. It was really good. There was no problem whatsoever. So I'm really excited about our interview.
Okay, well, so we can definitely see there that Chris is having some physical anxiety that's going on, that's manifesting itself. And the more that we can keep ourselves sort of still under those moments, the better we can do. Chris, ask me a question.
Patrick, how do you handle pressure?
Well, I have a lot of pressure in my last assignment. As you know, the campus was undergoing a lot of system-wide changes. We had to lock down, and also the financial pressures were incredibly heavy. So I had to learn how to do my best, even when it was a really difficult time.
Okay.
What was going on there?
What was the problem? Yes, as you could tell, Patrick was speaking, for him, a real oddity. He was speaking too softly. And you can tell because the interviewer, I felt like I had to lean forward in order to hear what was being said. Not only that, but he spoke Patrick is unable to speak in a monotone, but as much as he is able to, it was kind of a monotone. Remember, in order to express ideas, just like I am now, you have to emphasize certain words, and you can do that by loudness and softness. You can speak slower. You can put a pause before or after. There's so many ways to emphasize words, and by doing so, you are improving your communication skills. And
Common mistake number 3. Chris, tell us about yourself.
Oh, well, after I graduated from medical school, I did an observership, and then I was followed by a fellowship, which was a really good experience because I worked with a lot of really good doctors. And then I was able to shadow some doctors. That was very good. But then I had to take a job because I had to study, make money for my family. And then it's now.
So what was that with Chris? I think we could see, and actually what we talked about in this one was that Chris never finished a sentence. It didn't give us, as an interviewer, a chance to relax and listen. But there were some other things that were going on there too. What else, Chris, were you doing?
Well, when you speed up like that too, that's not good for your anxiety level. When you don't stop, and as Patrick preaches, take a breath, and you can take a little breath when you stop and pause. It just brings everything closer and gives everyone a moment to digest what's going on. So as soon as you start speeding up relentlessly, all sorts of other problems are going to arise.
It was interesting, Chris, because in that you had the speeding up, you had the run-on sentences, and there were also some physical anxieties that were popping up. So it's really interesting how just focusing on even just one thing speeding up and slowing down or finishing sentences starts to help everything else. And on the opposite direction, some negative or some incorrect ways of answering questions kind of takes everything else down with it.
And one of our big points is that we're not talking about huge changes. You don't change in a huge way, but it's these little adjustments. And when you make a series of little adjustments, like stopping at the end of a sentence, it makes a big difference.
Chris, now, I think you have a question for me.
Yes, I do. What was one of your biggest challenges and how did you overcome it?
That's a really good question. I've had a lot of challenges, and as you know, I've done very well in my job, and I've worked very hard. I've been really lucky because I've had some of the best teachers in the whole entire country. In fact, so what am I doing there? What do you think? Let's give the
This is a
audience a
tougher one.
moment.
This is a tougher one.
Ah, you got it. Yes, excellent. Upspeak. Upspeak. You can Google it online. What is upspeak? It's basically just turning or making statements sound like questions. So those things that generally, as an American speaker, we end down in pitch at the end of a statement. It's the end of a thought. As Chris has modeled for us many times, finishing the thought. If I go up in pitch when I finish that thought, it sounds like I'm going to say something else, which could happen once in a while, but it also sounds like everything I say I'm unsure of. So be aware of that. Don't use upspeak. Be confident. Speak statements as statements.
Good, good.
Next one, Chris, why is this job a good fit for you?
I'm glad you asked me that because I find this job very, very perfect for the skills and the experience that I have. And so I'm really looking forward to working here soon.
What happened there, people? Yes, correct. Chris had a lack of
eye contact.
And let me ask you this, Chris. When you were doing that, did you experience anything else? Did you feel like what did you feel? You tell me. Did you feel maybe not connected to the interview or not connected to yourself? Anything?
Well, part of it is a focusing. You lose your focus because your eyes are going all over the darn place. And where our eyes are, of course, helps determine what we're doing. We do go up to the left when we're accessing information and things like that. And the connection with you're not connected with anybody when you keep doing. And I have to say, Patrick, I mean, we are exaggerating these, of course, in order to make them obvious. But I had a gentleman I was working with, last week, and he wasn't as bad as I was, but he had real nervous eyes, and I began to feel like he's not talking to me. And and I'm his teacher. So imagine how a stranger who's your interviewer is going to feel if you don't look at him or her. It's eye contact has kind of become a cliche. Oh, you got to establish eye contact, but it's core in terms of importance.
I'm ready for my next question.
Oh, Patrick, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I'm really excited about the next 5 years because I have these really amazing plans. I've done so much work in my home team. I've been able to really do this kind of work that nobody else has been doing. It's an amazing sort of process. I mean, you can be really excited by it too. If you were to see what I was doing, if you actually saw the lab that I was in, you'd be amazed.
Stop. So what was that all about? I think you've got the answer to this one. Patrick, it's a question of pace, isn't it? He was going too fast. This has come up. As you can see, we put a lot of emphasis on this. If you keep going that fast, the poor interviewer is going to be left behind.
It also, well, we talked about it before, but we want to reiterate it. It also gets us off track. It also takes us out of our body. It also adds to our anxiety. Mm-hmm. Taking your time, slowing down, being present. That's that old phrase, you've got to be present to win. Being present makes a huge difference. You'll feel it. If you were to record your interview in a practice session with an interview coach like Chris or me, or with a best friend, you would see it. You would sense it. It's a different energy. Finally, this is the last one that doesn't happen that often, but it could. And that is, Chris, I see that you come from a big family.
Yes.
So while we love the idea of taking a pause because that gives us some power, we don't have to fill up every moment with sound, with noise. There's also the idea of elucidating the interviewer. So if they ask you a question and you have the opportunity to talk, use it. If you have the opportunity to share something and expand on it, then do so. Not ad infinitum, don't just keep on talking, but do share about that family in this case.
So something like, yes, I come from a big family. I have 2 brothers and 3 sisters. We're very close, and we communicate with each other often. They're very much a support group for me. Boom.
How beautiful is that?
And notice how much I was able to communicate in just 2 sentences. That's another big thing for me, is that just 1 or 2 sentences, and you can really add significantly to your answer.
Thus, as Chris and I have been saying, practice, practice, practice. We look forward to our next and final video where we will recap all that we've done in these first 11 videos. So stay tuned for a complete recap of how to succeed in your next job interview with Patrick Munoz
And Chris Schulte.